Andersen.
Well, it wasn't long since I seen you guys with the C55 and trying to dive into what exactly was causing our crazy weird rev hang issue. Anyway, welcome back to Channel Andersen. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're here today to try to figure out what the heck is going on with the silver C55. I have throttle body pulled off right now, the MAF pulled off, but actually just spoke with Josh and I'm gonna plug everything back in. I'm gonna make sure I got a fresh seal on the throttle body because that's really why I pulled that thing off. Make sure everything is clean, everything is hooked up properly, get my intake setup back on, and then I'm basically gonna start it, go drive after clearing everything, and I'm gonna come back and see what codes are present, if any, and then we'll start to diagnose. Right now, with the triangulation of possibilities, could be throttle body related, MAF related, gas pedal related, among other things. So we really got to dive in to test, but the only way to do that is by getting my hands dirty and jumping back in. So let's do it. All right, guys, step number one, always keep a gang of these on hand. I learned my lesson from having so many M113s over the years. This caused a crazy issue in my C55 way back. This C55, way back when I first got it. I had just fixed a weird issue with the spark plugs when I didn't have them all the way seated, and then this went bad, and I was like, well, now what the heck is going on? Well, it turns out this gasket was basically just flattened, and somebody had tried to silicone it before, and it just was not sealing. So I wish they made an actual like square gasket for the throttle body. I mean, I guess you could. Yeah, I don't see why you couldn't. You definitely could, but this is what they use, so that's what I'll use. All right, you guys, I was looking, actually, the M113K square gasket was laying around, but you can't actually run these on the M113, and I see why now. There's actually a very, very tiny lip at the top of the manifold, and in reality, I probably knew this, but if you can see that right there, there's no meat on that top side for a gasket to actually lay. So anyways, I wanted to show you guys that. I have the new gasket in there right now. I do a thin coating of a dielectric grease on them like I use on everything. It's like the lifesaver, but thin coating of it just so that it sticks in there while I'm throwing the throttle body in. So I'm gonna do that now. All right, guys, MAF is back on. So now, or not MAF, sorry, throttle body is back on. Now I'm gonna start plugging in my like silicone elbows. Where have I put everything? So here's my bottom elbow. There's probably a good chance for you guys to see exactly what I run. So here's my bottom elbow for the first connection. The MAF then sits on this, and then this plugs into the MAF. So this was totally tight when I took it off. There was like no chance that this thing was leaking, I don't think. And if it was, I don't know, I'd be surprised. So anyways, I'm gonna tighten this thing up. I use the actual Mercedes clamp on this one because it's a nice thin one to fit onto that little lip of the throttle body, and these are just really, really good clamps. If you ever get these on your cars and you end up taking them off for whatever reason, there they are right there. These are the ones you want to keep. These are really, really good clamps. Alright, guys, airbox is back installed. Just got to put our cabin filter cover on and then clear the codes. I'll check in with you guys at the latch scanner and clear those, and then we'll go for a drive and see what comes back. Alright, you guys, I'm sitting inside with our launch scanner here. This thing is so cool. I previewed this in a video with the CLK 55 a little while back, and I've just been testing it here and there. I want to get to know it really well, and then I'll make a video for it. Same with the Stardust stuff. Once I have a better understanding of it, I can make a better video for you guys. But I think I just disabled teleaid, which is awesome because I needed to do that. So I went in here, clicked on it. It was activated before. I hit deactivated, and then right coding, switch on, off ignition, on ignition, and then it said carried out coding successfully. So no more teleaid warning, hopefully, on our screen after we start it back up. We'll see. I don't know for sure. Maybe not, but we'll see what happens. Anyways, clear fault memory. I'm just going through and clearing a bunch of stuff, basically. Telephone. Okay. Go back into drive. I already cleared our engine control module. But we'll go in and check it again, see if anything happened to come back. I don't think so, but okay. Fault code, no faults. Yeah, so those are already cleared. So basically at this point, got to just go out and drive it. Cool thing is I can actually do our what's it called, mixture adaptation. I'm pretty sure when you go into actuation tests, mixture adaptation. So Josh recommended I do that if you switch a MAF out or anything like that, especially when my car was already having weird issues. If the MAF was a problem, swapping a new MAF on, you wanted to reset your adaptations. So I guess if you didn't have a scanner, you could, like, I don't know, maybe you can unplug the battery for a certain amount of time and it would do it. But in this case, if you got a scan tool or something like that, that would be the right way to do it, or restart DOS. So I have to have the engine running and coolant needs to be up to like 80 degrees to do that. So I will probably wait to do that once I drive it around for a bit. But anyway, this is probably the boring part of the video. So I'm going to go for a drive. My GoPro's dead. Otherwise, I would hook you guys up and take you with me. But I'm not going to do anything crazy. I'm just going for a drive to get it warmed up and see if our issue returns. Fingers crossed. Maybe it was just a throttle body gasket. That would be really cool. Like, that would be amazing. So probably not likely, but we'll see. I'll check out with you guys once I get back home. Okay, maybe placebo, but it looks smoother. It almost sounded like it had a miss before. And this definitely seems pretty rock solid. Alright, well, let's go drive. Alright guys, back home. Unfortunately, not a complete fix. It's back to how it was before I swapped on the Mars Red MAF. So, not terrible, but it's still doing it. It's still doing the weird little rev hang when I'm decelerating, and then it will drop down. So I'm gonna try to plug in my launch and do a mixture adaptation and do a quick little cruise again just to see if it changes anything, and then read codes. Alright, I know you guys want one of these, and then I'll talk about why I'm feeling optimistic right now. Alright guys, so we're still on the topic of our video here. Our C55's weird issue that I just could not solve. And you know, it's funny, thank you to the person that commented on the last video saying it's a sender, I had the same issue, because I had played that in my head before and I kind of forgot it in the path of things, just the way everything played out. I kind of forgot that I was thinking about it being possible, being the sender. But you commenting that, and then for some reason when you commented on the video it said it's a sender, just change it. It kind of all clicked in my head, like, okay, the fuel pressure gauge was being fluttery, even though I changed the gauges, and at first it looked better with the nuke, but the nuke is now still doing the same thing. The weird idle, the high idle, no codes present whatsoever, how bad the filter was on the sock for the fuel pump that I replaced, and all of it just kind of like, okay, it's got to be the sender. So I'm feeling very optimistic right now. Now my plan is tonight I'm gonna go and pull that thing apart and basically try to pull apart the sending unit. I was under the impression that they were fully sealed, but they're not. They're just like the E55 ones where you can pop them open and see the filter inside. I even have a filter part number that I can pop up later for you guys. It's a Phoebe part, in case you just want to pop it open and replace a filter. Now I have to see if the filter is just totally sludged up. My plan is I'm gonna remove it and then I'm gonna install an external filter depending on what the back of the car looks like underneath. If it doesn't look gummed up, then I'm gonna replace the whole sending unit, because in that case it probably has to do with the sending unit electronics, not the filter itself. But they're not very complicated, and I wouldn't assume they fail very typically unless they were burnt out or something. So I don't know, but anyways, I'm hopeful we finally have an answer, possibly, and it makes sense finally. So let's dive in tonight and see what we get. But we're in the CLK, guys, and we're on the way home, so might as well have some fun, right? It is also a very beautiful blessing to be able to have An M113K swapped CLK55 as your reserve car in this situation? I don't even know. It's just awesome to have this car to drive when I'm not driving the other ones. Like, to have this as a daily driver is insane. It still blows my mind every time I drive it. I'm just like, this does not make sense how cool and good this car is and how dailyable it still is. It's part of why I have been feeling mixed emotions about manual swapping it. Just because the 722.6 in this is pretty good. It doesn't always shift when I want it to, but when I put it in manual mode, it does decently. And it's just so comfortable as a daily. Hard to beat. To get traction today. I tried. That was my one good launch spot. I'll try again, see if we can get another spot up ahead. So wild. Anyways, I think I'm out of runway, guys, so I'll catch you back at home. Alright guys, back to the compound. I'll check in with you later once we're working back on the C55. Alright guys, we are back. Hello again. I am gonna get started here, but I'm a little bit torn on what I want to get started with. It would be kind of irresponsible of me to not pull off the intake manifold with us knowing that my MAF lost this piece at some point. Now, I don't know, it's been a long time since I've been driving this thing, and if that had fallen in there, I mean, at this point, if it was gonna cause damage, it probably would have, and if it got lodged somewhere, I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of silly to assume it's in there. I feel like if it was in the intake manifold, it would be making noise, or at some point it would have made noise. If it had gone through the motor, then, you know, praise to the gods, because it didn't do anything. And it probably shot out of the exhaust without really touching anything. Or it had fallen out when I was messing with pulling out the MAF screens and I never noticed or something. But for the peace of mind, and because it's not that hard to do, I'm going to pull the intake manifold off of there. So I have gaskets anyways. I really want to get a set of the Thermalnator gaskets from like Sicky Performance, or a set of spacers, or in reality, I want to make my own because I have the laser printer at work, and I can easily design these gaskets. I just need to figure out what material I would want to use. So not going to have time to do that before I want to throw it back on, but for future reference, I would like to do that. So to get this off, I'm going to have to undo my nuke setup. It's not much to it. I'm hoping that I'll be able to pop all the injectors out without them sneaking out of the spacers. I have the little safety clips on these, but I don't think they're really doing much to hold on the actual injectors to the rail. That's why I made sure it was anchored down really well with these bolts. So I'll have to take off those, take off my little spacers on there. And then once I get that out of the way, it's pretty much just zip, zip, zap, 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 and get everything out. Cool thing is with this nuke rail, the injector clips are really easy to get off and on. Yeah, besides that, probably the most annoying part of all this is I just took off my whole intake setup, took off the throttle body like yesterday. So I'm just going to be redoing those jobs. All right, let me get in here. All right, I don't know exactly what you guys can see, but anyways, I pulled off all the connectors, fuel injectors, coil packs, switchover valve, 2 vacuum lines, all my PCV lines, my brake booster. So yeah, just getting that ready. I'm gonna take off the throttle body here in a second because that clip on the bottom of the throttle body is such a pain to try to get off when it's underneath. There's just no room to like fit your finger to squeeze it off. So let's see what happens if I pop up the rails now. Thankfully the car's been sitting, so there's no pressure in the rails anymore. But I don't know if our injectors are gonna stay seated. Most likely not, to be honest. Yeah, they're gonna come out of the oh boy, they're gonna come out of the spacers before they come out of the manifold. So I'm probably gonna do the smart move and let me drain as much as I can from the AN fittings, because otherwise I'm probably gonna make a complete mess. So they are pretty stuck in there, as they always get, which is good. This means we got a tight seal, but it means we're probably gonna make a mess. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh boy. All right, well, this is gonna be a mess. No way around it. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep. That was a mess. Oh, crap. Okay, this side is out. Thank you, Nuke. These are still awesome. Even if this was a fuely mess, that's okay. Alright guys, well, I think that was the hardest part. So now we just got our throttle body and all of our nuts. Again, I have converted this to studs and nuts versus the bolts. Way easier. I highly recommend it. Just makes life way easier with the gaskets and placing and removing the intake manifold. It is a breeze. So yeah, gotta undo all of those and our bolts for our throttle body that I just did yesterday, but that's okay. We're doing this for the right reasons, so we can shake up our intake manifold and see if we got anything in there. All right, all of my studs and nuts are 13s, so zip all those off real quick. Today I was optimistic about the fuel center being the issue with our whole hesitation and a weird idling But this would be, you know, just kind of dumb to look over and not pull the intake manifold after seeing that little plastic clip come off. So let's pull this thing out of here. I think it's ready to go. Yep, ready to go. Okay. Luckily, it's not a 90-pound supercharger. Oh, actually, one more vacuum sesh. Okay, now we should be good. Just try to lift as straight up as you can. Take a nice ninja stance. And get off of their injector. Oh, come on. Move out of my way, wiring harness. Okay. Oh, the gasket was stuck. All right. All right, we'll shake that thing around in a second, but let's inspect things in here. Okay, valves open on a few of them. Okay. All right, all these look okay. These actually look really clean. That's awesome. These are cleaner, much cleaner than they were before when I pulled the intake manifold the first time. That's great science right there of why you should delete your EGR and other things if you can. I wonder, that looks a bit odd, the gasket on that side, to be honest. It looks like it was sealing on the lips, but that's a lot of kind of crud on there. All right, let me pull these off, get this protected so nothing's gonna fall in there, and move on. All right, guys, well, moment of truth, right? We got to see if this thing shakes out anything good, but let me cover these up with paper towels before I forget and, you know, do something silly. So hold on. This is why I usually always try to keep these blue fiber towels around, because these are really good for stuff like that. The one downside, I guess, of using the studs is you can't just tape over these because the studs are in the way, unless you poke holes through the studs. So you could, I guess, but I just stuff these down into each port, or I use clean microfibers. But your boy needs to visit Costco and go buy a new pack of microfibers, because mine are all shot and they've been through the wash multiple times at this point. So anyways, let me stuff these full and move on. All right, guys, now the moment of truth. Does this thing have anything inside of it that we can tell from shaking it around? Not that I can hear. Oh, wait. I'm gonna say no, guys. I mean, I think that would do something, but I will take a fine-tooth comb to it and have an inspection inside. But I mean, doesn't seem like it. So why did we do this again? Well, for peace of mind, that's why. It just wouldn't have been right. It'd be silly. So I've driven it 1,000 times probably since whenever this happened, but hey, sometimes you got to do things like this just to make 100% absolute sure, because I love this car and it would be really sad to have something stupid like a little MAF cover plate be the thing to hurt a motor or something like that. So let me dig through this a little bit more and I'll let you guys know if I can see anything or find anything special. All right, guys. Don't know if I can show you that same view with the camera right now. Hard to do with one hand, two hands. anyways, I don't think we got anything in this intake manifold. I think we are good. Swirl flaps, if they would have got stuck, I think it would have been very noticeable. But feeling them out right now, and I could feel it even when it was still in the car, just compressing our plunger here. There's no anything sticking up anything, and honestly, the way these are designed, I mean, there's not really many places a plate like that could get stuck. All right, guys, well, ran out of time. I'm back at work now. We are planning to reinstall the manifold, obviously, and then I'm going to jump into the fuel sender for Monday's video. And I also picked up some paint. I want to paint the intake manifold. As you guys can see, the bottom side and the sides have gotten pretty nasty. I polished them all up, but polishing aluminum, it gets pretty corroded pretty quick in a wet environment like Washington, if you don't like do some type of coating on it at least. So I picked out a new paint for it. I'll surprise you guys with it. The hint is P31. So anyways, I'll catch you guys on Monday. Thank you so much for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed. Trying to dig through with a fine-tooth comb and make sure, you know, we do everything properly, because like I said earlier, I love this car. I want to treat it nice and make sure it gets the best. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy your weekend. Thank you for watching as always. Peace.